Hey guys, happy 2026 and welcome to the first episode of the new year of WWE Friday Night SmackDown, which was the first 3 hour show. And it was a special show for us here in Buffalo, New York, because it came to us live from Buffalo, New York, at the KeyBank Center downtown, which I had the opportunity to go to, and it was a lot of fun. This show, some of the things I want to touch on today when we do our review is just some of the differences being at these shows live versus what you see on TV. And I think, the move from 2 hours to 3 hours and some of the just the notable things that happened on this show really did kind of feel like a season premiere kind of show. So yeah, let's get right into it. So welcome to the show. As always, I am Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill, and welcome to 2026, Sean. How are we feeling about everything?
So I, of course, was not lucky enough to attend the show. But based on watching it on TV, the crowd reaction seemed like it was pretty good. The episode overall for a SmackDown was much better than a lot of what we've seen lately. And I believe I said it in our review for the pre-taped one for last week. I was hoping that with this being the start of the 3 hour SmackDowns, that this would be a turning point for WWE and starting off almost on a new foot. And I think that they have the potential for that to happen.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I want to get before I get into like all of my, I'll get into that at the end, I think, when we talk about the live versus the TV, because I did go back and watch some of the presentation of the show. I was actually trying to find myself in the crowd. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So the show opened up with Miz, who was in the ring, and he was just cutting a typical Miz promo about how he's not appreciated and how he's the adult in the room, and this, that, and the other thing. Nothing out of the ordinary that you haven't heard from Miz 100 times in the past. But everyone, because he almost slipped and he almost said his name, Johan, and then he didn't, which was interesting because I was thinking for sure, I was like ready to record with my camera that it was going to be Joe Hendry to come out, but he did not. And instead, we got a returning Randall Keith Orton in a really awesome local Buffalo kind of Sabres hockey Randy Orton sort of t-shirt, which was really, really neat looking. And Randy didn't say much. He came out and just hit Miz with the RKO twice because the audience wanted a second one. And that was pretty much it. And the only other time we saw Randy was when him and Cody met backstage, and Randy was basically like, "Look, Cody, I want that title. So I want you to know that after you're done pummeling Drew McIntyre, I'm coming for you." So interesting start. And I mean, I think it's long overdue that we get into that program. Long overdue.
So was Randy hurt or was he just off because they didn't have anything for him to do? Do we know?
I think he was just given time off.
Okay. Because yeah, I mean, he did work a lot at the end of summer there with Jelly Roll and all that.
Mhm.
I think that you hit the nail on the head though, with this being incredibly overdue. And obviously, this show was real big on the point of everybody's gunning for Cody Rhodes. And
Mhm.
I think that there's a couple different takes on that and how it's going to impact Cody with the whole Drew thing and all that. And I think Randy Orton is the perfect, not necessarily number one person to be facing Cody, but he should be the biggest person to be facing Cody.
Well, he's the biggest person on the roster, I think, on the SmackDown side of things right now, just simply obviously because Roman's not there. And it doesn't really, none of it really matters, unfortunately, because it's all kind of a holding pattern until we get to the WrestleMania match, which, unfortunately is going to be Cody and Roman again. But I'm starting to think that a good direction they can actually go with that now, to not to get Cody away from the title a little while after he loses. 'Cause I'm assuming he's going to lose to Roman. Um, would be at that point to have Randy cost him.
Yeah.
And then you can go into that program well into the summer, and you can have Roman do whatever Roman is going to need to do. Oops, my camera just kicked. You can have Roman do whatever Roman needs to do, and just kind of go from there, I think. And yeah, just sort of see what happens. I'm guessing that's probably not what they're going to do, but I'm still of the mind that Roman is going to win the title back at Mania.
I mean, I'm still holding out hope that that's not what ends up happening, but you have me a firm belief that that is what we're gonna get. But you never know. I mean, I feel like this show in particular gives us a variety of, we could almost say, a smorgasbord of options for challengers for Cody. And even hell, even Miz could throw his name in the ring with talking about how he was the adult in the room, even though he's going to be busy, I'm sure, for a little while with He Who Shall Not Be Named, because I don't want him to show up behind me. But
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I
I
think that
mean,
was a good opening to the show. It was a great pop for a returning Randy. And my God, I want one of those t-shirts.
yeah, it was cool. I wish I could have got one. They did. They were sadly sold out, but it was pretty neat. This was followed up by the women's 4v4 tag team match, which was basically all of the face women versus all of the heel women. Rhea, Io, and Charlotte and Alexa versus the Kabuki Warriors, Nia and Lash Legend. And every single one of the women really got an opportunity to shine. With the exception of Alexa, I would say. Like Alexa kind of was mostly the punching bag in this match. She hit a few of her moves and did get to hit the Sister Abigail towards the end of the match. But she was really the punching bag for this match. Every single one of the other women, it was all about building to the hot tag to each one of them. First to Charlotte, then to Io, and then ultimately to Rhea, right? And Rhea hitting the Riptide on Kyrie to pick up the win for the face team, which did also lead to a backstage segment because as we know on Raw, the women's tag team titles are going to be defended by the Kabuki Warriors against Rhea and Io, to which Charlotte and Alexa, well, sort of cute, but also sort of not on the same page, wanting a title shot, against those two, assuming they win the titles on Monday, which I think is probably likely that they will win the
Yeah.
titles on Raw. But I just wanted to note that this match was awesome. In my opinion, like being there live, this was the best match of the night. I'll talk about the ambulance match later, obviously, because that was the main event. But this match was a lot of fun. All of these women really got a chance to shine, with the exception of Alexa, obviously. But being that this was the first match, the crowd was so into this, and the crowd was so into Rhea because she appeared multiple times, throughout the show, and she's so over. Like it has not gone down at all. Like you would think that, oh, maybe the crowd is gonna like not be as into her as there's not a bigger, other than Cody, Rhea is the second biggest star on that was on this show. She got a bigger pop than Randy did.
So the live pop for her was huge.
Hmm.
So I think Alexa, I mean, I feel like you're right that she was not quite as important in the match as the rest of them. And I think she was a victim of circumstance by being the person who had to start the match. I feel like whoever was the first person in that match that had to lead off the hot tag segments was going to be the weakest link there. I agree with you. I do think that the team of Rhea and Io are going to defeat the Kabuki Warriors. I think we're finally going to see Kyrie get done with being abused and maybe
Hope
walk
that
out
goes on
on
forever.
Asuka. And I just got to say, I hate watching Nia Jax. I just absolutely hate watching Nia Jax. And it is just, I don't know how it was seeing it live, but it's so boring watching her in the ring. Like she's not original. She does nothing exciting. And it's just blah to me.
She plays the role of the monster heel very well, I think. And I don't really mind that too much because they used to have several people on the roster that were like that. Braun Strowman comes to mind as an example. But especially on the women's side of things, she's really the only one that is like that. So I think you treat her like a special attraction. I think it's okay, right? I think the way that they book her is fine. I would probably definitely never put a main title on her ever again. But I think using her to help build up Lash Legend because she does have a lot of star power, I think is fine. And they could certainly win those tag team titles. I don't think it would hurt the titles
You
or the people who are currently holding them for them to drop those titles. But I think being in that mid card tag team division is the perfect spot for her.
do you think pairing her with Lash Legend is so that Legend can learn that role?
Yeah, eventually.
Because Legend is a pretty
She's
big girl.
huge. She
Yeah,
is huge in
not in the way
seeing her.
Nia is.
No, no, no. Seeing her in real life, she is tall. I think she's taller than Charlotte, and she's just ginormous. Like she's built like Jade, except but bigger.
Yeah,
She's
she's
just got she's kind of like a combination of like Jade and Rhea because
yeah.
she's built, but she's also like broad shouldered, kind of like Rhea is as well. And I gotta say, she's growing on me. I'm very impressed with her. She did a very good job in the match yesterday. And like I said, every one of the women got a chance to shine, with the exception of Alexa. So, but yeah, it was a solid match, and I think it was fine. It was, glorified house show match, if you will. Certainly having the faces win is perfectly fine here. I mean, I don't love Asuka and Kyrie's booking, but I think at this point I'm not going to bitch about it anymore because I'm kind of used to it. So
I
it's
mean,
fine.
common sense has it in no way are the faces losing going into their match on Monday. Like with Rhea and Io, of course they're going to want to look strong going into that match. So
Yeah,
I fully expected the faces to win there.
yeah. No,
Lost camera again.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with my camera. It's plugged in, it keeps dipping out. Maybe the connection is short or something. Um, but yeah, and it was fine. So then we had our first of two debuts, if you will. One was a surprise, and the other one was not so much a surprise, but I'm glad that this person decided to come to SmackDown. So let's talk about the surprise first, and that was Kit Wilson of Pretty Deadly came down to the ring to have a match with a mystery opponent. Obviously, because his tag team partner is injured and probably will be for a while. So he came out, he insulted the crowd, and which was funny. It's always make fun of the local sports teams and how the fan base is toxic, and that was funny. And he was interrupted and had a match with a returning Matt Cardona, who initially the Titantron said Zack Ryder, but then it corrected itself and he became Matt Cardona. But I listened to the broadcast and it was all part of the gimmick, I guess, to
Yep.
begin with, after I listened to the broadcast, which is one of the things that's weird about being there live. There's no commentary
Yep.
like at all. So it's a very different experience when you're in there. He got a pretty big pop. And I think some of the crowd had no idea who he was. Like you could tell that like a lot of the younger fans who were there, they had no idea. There was a guy and a dad and a mom and two little boys that were sitting right in front of us, and I heard the one little boy ask his father, "Who's that guy?" And I was kind of chuckling to myself a little bit when I heard that, and then I don't think the dad knew, truthfully, but it was still pretty cool to see. And when he hit some of his moves, everybody was still getting into him. So I hope that I hope that he's actually signed, and I hope that he can show the crowd how he got so over back when he was in the company originally. And he's got a ton of charisma and he's a great wrestler. So I have no doubt if they give him the ball, he can run with it.
So commentary said that he is officially a part of the SmackDown roster, which is awesome. And I when his music hit, I was like, no way. And the fact that it transitioned from the Zack Ryder music into the indie deathmatch king of Matt Cardona was absolutely fantastic. And I'm really happy that they're letting him run, especially because you and I talked about what a mistake it was for him to wrestle in the Cena Classic as Zack Ryder. He should have
Yeah.
wrestled as who he is now. And like you said, a lot of current fans don't remember him. And I'll do a quick history lesson here. Zack Ryder is probably one of the first superstars who got themselves over through the use of social media. He was on the verge of being cut multiple times and literally forced WWE to recognize that he was there. And we all know that Vince hated that, which is why he was punished a lot and had to take a lot of terrible storyline things. But you got to give the guy credit for doing everything he did. I mean, he had his whole YouTube series, Long Island ISZ, the Zack Ryder story, but he was fantastic, and he was goofy at the time, and I'm very interested to see him in his how well his more serious character portrayal gets over in this era.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm very curious to see what they do with him. For now, I don't see him going anywhere near the world title for a
No,
while. He's probably going to be a perennial mid carder, especially given his age too, a little bit. But I'm fine with that because you know what, that mid card could use more challengers, and I could absolutely see him capturing the U.S. title at some point and having a really fun run with it. So,
you know,
which we'll get into the U.S. title in a little bit.
real quick point though, just thought of something that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more people over these next 2 or 3 weeks debuting or coming back as fill-ins for the Royal Rumble. Since we're not going to be
Yeah.
able to have the surprises, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more people like Cardona. Maybe we'll see Ziggler show up as Nick Nemeth and wrestle and not be a full member of the roster, but wrestle a match or two and be there to take part in the Rumble.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. And that's a good way to drive up viewership, over the next month and make the shows more watchable. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that if that is the case. And then the other debut sort of was Sami Zayn coming back, which he's been gone for a little bit too. And he came down to the ring and, talked about how he got the opportunity to sit in the stands with his young son watching the John Cena retirement match against Gunther. And his son had asked him, why is it that why do they call him Never Seen 17? And he had mentioned, he'd explained to his son that he's won the world title 17 times. So his son asked him, how many times have you won it? And he said, I've never won it at zero. And so it caused him to reflect a little bit. And ultimately, he basically decided, look, I've done enough talking about this. It's time for me to like put my name out there to like go and get it done. So that part of it was cool. I I could get behind Sammy going in for the title as well because I love the idea of a bunch of people getting themselves into the title picture. Randy going into it, Sammy going into it, especially if Roman is going to win it. I'm really hoping that he doesn't retain it for a long time. And you could very easily have a bunch of people going after Roman if that is the case. If we're going to keep it on Cody until WrestleMania, then put it on Roman. You could have a ton of programs for Roman, between now and the rest of the year of people who could potentially take the title off of him. And I think you should do that. It should not just sit on Roman Reigns for the next 12 calendar months.
Yeah,
It'd
no,
be a perfect opportunity to put it on Sammy or to put another one on Randy and help Randy get to what would he be at 14 or 15 at this point. So, like that could be a lot of fun and you could have a lot of opportunities to tell stories here. But then let me just quickly wrap up what happened then, obviously. So after that, Sammy was then interrupted by a debuting Trick Williams, which he looked awesome. And I loved his talking in the third person. That
Trick
was
Willie.
really cool. That was really, really cool and very well done. He seemed very comfortable. And he got a huge pop. The crowd knew his theme. Like everybody knew whoop that trick and it was great. It was really, really cool. And he looks like $1 million.
The only thing in his promo that I feel like he missed was mentioning that he was also Trick NA, the TNA World Champion at a point. I think that would have been a huge thing to add there. I love like you said, the talking in the third person, calling himself Trick Willie, Hollywood Trick. I think that a feud versus some of these established stars is going to be huge for him. And I think that he looked like a star. Like he didn't come out here looking an average like schlub or like how I mean, as much as I love Javon Evans' work in the ring, I mean Javon Evans, he's going to be a star based off of like his ring work, but Trick actually looked like a star.
Hmm. Yeah, he did. Trick looked like $1 million, and it sounds like we're gonna unfortunately get another Ray Phoenix burial next week when he beats Ray Phoenix, very likely next week.
Honestly, I think he might lose because I think that Sammy might cost him the match. Like as kind of like as a life lesson type thing. I think Sammy might like distract him and cost him the match.
I don't know if I want that to happen or not. I kind of would like him to just win for a little while, but at the same time, I hate it that it's at the expense of Ray Phoenix.
Or maybe it ends in some sort of no contest.
They still have a problem with booking certain people. And
Yeah.
that was evident on this show. Ray Phoenix is one of those people who is just still not booked well. There are a bunch of people that are not booked well. Rusev is not booked well. The person who was in one of the persons, both of the persons, frankly, who were in the main event of this show are not booked well. So there's a handful of people who are just on the WWE roster just for whatever reason they can't book them right.
Ray Phoenix needs to be moved to Raw. He needs to be put with his brother.
It's hard though, right? Because his brother's so over and his brother
I
is
think that
doing
that'll
so
help
well.
Ray.
I mean, to be honest with you, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think he needs a different look too, a little bit. And the reason I say that is because I thought it was Dragon Lee at first when he popped up. I didn't even like realize it was him. I thought it was Dragon Lee for a little while. I'm like, oh, that's perfect for Dragon Lee. Have Dragon Lee be the one because it took me probably like 10 seconds to realize it was Ray Phoenix, but like I initially thought it was Dragon Lee, and I was like, this is perfect. Dragon Lee can put on a great match with him, lose, and it will be fine.
The problem is it's because the luchador they wear a similar style of mask, and Dragon Lee has started more recently wearing a mask that looks, I think, too similar to Ray Phoenix's, and I think that's the problem.
Yep.
Honestly, you give me a Ray Phoenix mask change to one of his other luchador masks that he's worn in the past, and it'll set him far enough apart. I mean, it's like with Rey Mysterio. You'll never mistake Rey Mysterio amongst all the luchadors. I mean,
Nope.
part of that's because he's 3 feet tall, but the other part is his particular mask is distinct. Penta's mask is distinct. El
Mhm.
Grande Americano's mask is distinct. Plus,
Yep.
I mean, he's a 6 foot tall Norwegian guy.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, it'll you know what it will be a great match. It will
Oh
be
yeah.
as long as they give it time, it will absolutely be a great match. But I digress. So we also had two both US titles were defended on this show. And let's talk about the men's first. We had Carmelo Hayes, who did speak with Ilya Dragunov beforehand and saying that he was going to continue the US Open Challenge. And Ilya had made mention, look, keep it warm for me because I will be coming back for it, which, we'll see what ends up happening with that. But then ultimately, he did have a match with Johnny Gargano, and this was great. And this match went on for a while. Now, I never thought Johnny was going to win, but they gave these guys a lot of time. They got like 20 something minutes to go, and they hit all their big moves. Johnny almost had it won a couple of times, but Mello looked great. He looked really, really excellent. His finisher looks fantastic live. That jump off the top rope leg splash thing that he does. I don't know what the name for it is, but
Nothing but net.
yeah, something like that. And it was friggin' excellent to see. And these guys really left it all out there. Gargano ended up getting busted open kind of late in this match. I think he broke it. Looked like he broke his nose. But they played that up in a backstage segment a bit later with Fraxium. But overall, yeah, excellent match. Excellent match.
So the nice thing about moving from Ilya Dragunov to Carmelo is they are similar in size, but two completely different styles of wrestling. And it's real cool to keep this style of match going if you're going to pass the title among people who can showcase different skill sets.
Mhm.
And not even just in the matches by the person with the title holder, but like Johnny Gargano. He's called Johnny Wrestling for a reason. The dude is incredible. And I love the fact that he called out the fact that there was one guy in the crowd wearing a Johnny Wrestling shirt. Loved it. But I think it's great that they're going to keep the U.S. title challenge going. And I think Mello, this is what they need to do to fix how badly they screwed his coming up to the main roster.
Yeah, and I think they will. And this is the perfect way to do it. It's the same. I mean, it's the same great way to get folks reintroduced to Dragunov because he's been gone for so long. And now I think people, know what to expect with him. I think you can do the same thing with Mello for a little while, right? 3, 4 months, he can keep that title, put it on somebody else. And you
You
keep doing that with the US title. And it is a perfect thing to do. You have so many people on that roster on SmackDown who could win that US title, and it would be great. And I'm thinking of Trick eventually. I'm
That's what I
thinking
was
of
just gonna say.
I'm thinking of Aleister Black eventually. Like there are a lot of guys that they could put that strap on, and it would be a lot of fun.
I was just gonna say my fantasy booking would be for Mello to hold the title for a couple months and then drop it to Trick Williams.
Mhm. Yeah.
You bring up their history. You have a ready line storyline built right there.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
then Trick wins that bout. The kind of egotistical asshole that he is, he turns around and says, "Why would I have a U.S. title challenge?" And then has a whole storyline with Mello chasing him to get him to do this challenge.
Right. And that could be a lot of fun if they do it that way. So that was cool. And then obviously a bit later towards the end of the show, we also had Giulia recapture the women's US title from Chelsea Green. It's a relatively short match. Chelsea got a little bit of offense, but Giulia mostly dominated in this match, which I think was the right thing to do. Um, this was my only kind of down point of the whole show. I think of all of the matches and everything I watched, they still need to do something better with Giulia, and it's such a shame because she's such a good wrestler. The crowd is not into her at all. She got no pop, and I think part of it was a bit of the WWE production, a little bit too, because the pyro was late and the screen that says and new, whatever such and such champion that they do behind them now, that was also late and it was screwed up the way they had like the wording on there for the live crowd, so that nobody knew what was going on. So that all kind of like sucked a little bit, and I think it just took away from her getting like that the cheering that normally happens when they have the pyro for the person winning. But and plus like it ended so quickly that I don't even think people realized she had won right away live until she stood up like with the title. So it just seemed very awkward watching it live, and it wasn't very loud either. So I felt a little bit bad for her because she just didn't seem to get the reaction I was hoping she would get.
So here's a question for you, because watching it on TV, it sounded like the crowd was real behind Chelsea.
Not
Did you
really.
notice that?
No. There were a couple people that cheered for Chelsea, and there's actually something I want to ask you about in a minute, but no, I would say people were just kind of like whatever about this whole match.
Because I'm wondering if they were pumping in cheers for Chelsea then. Because it was watching it on TV, it definitely sounded like Chelsea was getting way more of a reaction. And as far as Julia winning goes, my only hope is that this is a reset for her and they can actually use it to focus on a correct booking this time.
Yeah, maybe. So what I wanted to ask you is I noticed like looking at the graphic that they had up, it's just Alba and Chelsea now. Is Piper fired?
No, Piper is severely injured. I don't know if you caught earlier in the week. William Regal came out, and it was because people were talking about how over the top people in AEW are and like the injuries and everything. And neck injuries became a topic of conversation. William Regal came out and was talking about how bad it is to suffer a neck injury and how it can end careers and everything. And Piper Niven actually chimed in on William Regal's Twitter post about it. And apparently she is dealing with a pretty like severe neck injury, like potentially career ending neck injury.
That's a shame.
It is. And like I know T and I made fun of her a lot because she was not the greatest, but part of me wonders if a lot of what was going on with the screw ups and all that were from her dealing with this neck injury.
It's certainly possible.
So I kind of feel bad for that. I mean, not a lot because that's what we do is make fun of people, but get well. I mean, we you never want to see anybody hurt,
No.
especially with something that could end their livelihood and their
Yeah, no.
life.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So
Yeah, I mean,
get
and
well,
all
Piper.
yeah, all the best to Piper. I was just I wanted to ask about it because I'd like this was the first time I'd noticed she wasn't even in the graphic anymore. And I thought that that was kind of interesting and I was just wondering like what had happened. So, um to which we had two other segments to discuss from this show. The one we'll talk about Cody's segment in a minute. The main event was the ambulance match between Damian Priest and Aleister Black. And this is where I wanted to get your take because I completely disagree with this match, the way they booked this match through and through. I mean, the match was fine. It was fun. It had a lot of big spots. You know, Aleister Black getting tossed off the ambulance at the end was pretty cool. Going through the windshield sort of was pretty cool. Rhea coming out of the ambulance was like everyone knew it was going to happen and that was kind of neat, you know. So it was a fun match. It was a very cool, like, just thing to see, you know. But Black needed to win this. 100% Black needed to win this. And I don't know what you do with him now, like at all. I don't take him seriously at all. And the crowd didn't give a crap about him. The crowd was hugely into Damian Priest, but
I think that's the problem.
nobody gives a crap about Aleister Black.
So, couple things. I think this match is one of the downsides of seeing something live because you don't get the presentation of it like you do watching it, like with the extra stuff, like the good camera angles, all that. I mean, you can only see so much from where you're sitting live.
Mhm, mhm.
You're not wrong. The crowd is really into Priest, and I think that's part of the problem. I mean, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that WWE was trying to get him to take time off because apparently he's wrestled like the most matches out of anybody this year because he's just a straight up workhorse. But when you have the crowd being so into the guy, you what reasoning is that for him to take any time off? You know what I mean?
Right.
And they WWE made a mistake when they should have had Black beat him twice right out of the bat and end this feud like that and write Damian Priest off TV to go on vacation. And then you have a legitimate badass in Aleister Black that people will give a damn about. But when you have not just the fact that it's Damian Priest, but you have Damian Priest who is still tied to Rhea Ripley. That is also going to help his popularity. When you have them being referred to as the Terror Twins, and all I can think of is that the next thing we're going to get is going to be Damian Priest also throwing his name into the coming after Cody hat because that's the only thing that I can see going for him. And you know what? Okay, that's where else do you gonna put him? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I guess that's fine. I don't know what you do with Aleister Black now. Like, what do you do
I
with
have
Aleister Black now? Fire him?
no idea, to be honest with you. Maybe, I mean, I honestly don't know. It's going forward over the next few weeks. It is something I'll be interested to see in what path they decide to have Aleister Black take.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, just
Like I can't even fantasy book it because I have no idea.
yeah, I have no idea what they're gonna do with him. Um, and there was a backstage segment too with Jade Cargill, which was a relatively nothing segment where it was revealed that Michin was injured at a live event, and Jordan Grace did confront her. Um, but who knows what that's actually going
I
to lead
mean,
to.
it's good to see that they're using real life and the fact that Jade's unsafe in stories now.
I just don't care. Jordan
No,
Grace is not going to beat her. So like
which is too
sure
bad.
it's great to have her come up and immediately be put into the main event scene, which is good because they need more people in the main event scene, but she's not going to beat Jade.
So it's too bad too because she is such a fantastic wrestler, and I'm definitely very interested because I know a couple of our followers were at the show as well. So I'm very interested in what their takes were on some of this. So make sure you guys comment as well for that because I know that it sounded like a great show to be at in person. And I'm very curious what you guys think about Jade as well. Like, is is it possible to take Jade seriously? Or do you feel kind of like us where you look at her and it's just kind of like meh? Like I don't really know a better way to describe my opinion of Jade Cargill's championship reign besides meh.
Yeah. Yeah. So the big segment then for the show, obviously, was the segment between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, to which Cody Rhodes came out to huge pop. I mean, for the live crowd, Cody's such a star, dude. Cody's such a big star. The entire arena 17,000 people that were there. Everybody was singing his song. Everybody did the whoa thing. Like, I mean, it was unbelievable to see live and to like to be a part of that. That was really friggin' cool. That was the best part of the show. And I'm glad they didn't do it right away either. Like, I'm glad they waited a little while into the show to have him come out, but that was absolutely friggin' awesome. And so he cut pretty typical Cody Rhodes promo, about being the alpha dog and all of this other stuff. Nothing, nothing you haven't heard from Cody before. But it was pretty neat to see Drew McIntyre out by his bus, he went into his bus, took a photo of him and his dad, and then proceeded to kind of dupe Cody to going out to his bus, to which Drew came into the ring, lit the photo on fire, and the whole premise of the thing here was that Cody can't lay a hand on him, otherwise he gets stripped of the title. Drew obviously revealed the stipulation for the 3 Stages of Hell match, which is going to be a standard wrestling match first, then basically the equivalent of a no DQ match second, and then ultimately a steel cage match as the third rung of the matches that they're going to have next week, Friday, for the WWE Championship. So a lot to unpack here. But what was your feeling? Well, how did you feel about the segment? What did you like about it? And then we can obviously get into fantasy booking a little bit after that.
Well, kind of surprised that I actually almost called what the 3 stages were going to be from our last show when I was explaining it to you. But I think the fact that Drew McIntyre has probably the greatest troll in the history of sports entertainment. Going back to what he was doing to CM Punk, that's the vibe I got from this, like completely. And with the way he was lighting his stuff on fire and taunting him. And he is just it's so easy to hate him because he plays the scumbag so well, which sucks because I like Drew McIntyre. I like Drew McIntyre as a face too, but he just plays this conniving, like willing to do anything character so well. And Cody as QB1 is just such your generic white meat babyface that he's the perfect foil to him. And it kind of sucks that I don't think that Drew will win the title because I think that this would be honestly a great time to put it on it for a little while. I think even if it was a short run, it would be fantastic. But I don't know. This whole segment was well laid out. They did a real good job. The security guards actually did their jobs for once. They weren't the most incompetent security guards in the history of the world. And I think that I'm real excited for the Berlin match.
So a couple of things. One, Cody's going to retain
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
But I also don't think that that's a bad thing. And the reason I say that is because, like, the live crowd, obviously, as I'd mentioned, still really loves Cody a ton. And the only place Cody gets any hate is with the internet people, the trolls
Yep.
online. The same people who are like, oh my God, Drew McIntyre should quit if he doesn't win this title. Like, are you kidding me? Shut up. Like, just shut
Yep.
up. Dude's making so much money. He's loving life doing what he's doing right now. Like, are you kidding me? You could see it in his character work. He is loving what he is doing right now. Like
Yep.
you would not be able to perform the way he's performing if you didn't absolutely love what you were doing right now. And Drew, it's not like Drew has never won the title before. Drew's won the title a couple of times. Like, it's not like he's one of these guys that never was at the top of the mountain. And will he get there again? Yeah, probably, but just not right now. There's too many other things that they have to go towards. And hell, he could take it off of Roman, and I would think I would be perfectly okay with that. But with that being said, this was excellent, and this match next week is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. They'll probably give it the entire third hour of the show.
That's what I'm expecting.
So yeah, so that was SmackDown live from Buffalo, and it was uh it was awesome. A lot of fun. What a really, really good show. Great way to reset and to get things moving in the direction of the Royal Rumble and for 2026
Where were your seats?
on the floor.
Floor?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll show you the videos when I see you next.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you actually got a good live show, especially considering how your and my feelings for SmackDown have been over the past 2.5 months.
Hmm.
Um, I think that this might have been our grand reset for the new year. So hopefully this continues going forward. And the fact that we're going to have this huge match next Friday in Berlin, I think hopefully we can continue on the right foot here. I think this was a honestly for a televised watching it on TV, I give it a 3.5. I don't know what your live reaction would be.
Um, yeah, so the only thing that's negative about being there live is obviously you don't get the commentary, which is certainly a little interesting. Uh, so it makes it like you just have to kind of just sit there, and sometimes there's like a lot of there's not silence, but like you can hear some of the ignorant shit that like people are saying and stuff like that, which because some of these fans are just the absolute worst, and they say some of the
Yep.
most mean, ignorant shit to people, and it's like, okay, you guys got to really knock that shit off. But with that being said, I mean, going to these things live is like there's nothing else like it. It is so much fun to go to these things live and to just be a part of the crowd. It kind of has like that festival feeling a little bit, like getting to sing the songs and stuff like that, and watching people get super excited, and even the people with the signs who sometimes they're annoying, but like other times, they're fine. I was sitting next to this guy who he was with his girlfriend. He was probably in his mid 30s, I would say. And she, bless her heart, she was not interested in this at all. But this guy was like a super fan, like hardcore super fan. So he was cheering, he was trying to explain all of this stuff to her, and I was just listening to him, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, like listening to this. And my wife would never in a million years would she go to this would she go to WWE with me. But with that being said, yeah, the show was awesome. It is a lot of fun, and that is why my final rating for the show is a live from Buffalo out of 5. So that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have a bunch of content coming up for you guys in the next few weeks here. We obviously got the playoffs for the NFL starting soon, so we have a lot to talk about there. And we have a huge, huge, huge Monday Night Raw coming this week as well, where we may see a title change. Maybe. So I have been Mike, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Happy New Year, and let's have a great 2026, everybody. So have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.